Today was an absolute terrible loss for our New York Mets, losing 3 of 4 to the Miami Marlins as Kodai Senga continues to look like a terrible pitchers. The veterans failing anywhere from Sean Manaea to Frankie Montas, now Kodai Senga. We're going to go into depth what the New York Mets options are, what the Mets should do with Kodai Senga, and we'll get a little bit further into today's game next on Metcast. What's going on, fam? Hope all is well. I am Ray, your host as always. Leave us a like, subscribe if you're new to this channel. Consider becoming a member to be guaranteed to have your voices heard. You could click the link up above in the comment section. Now let's get to today's game. Today I was out with the family, so I watched the game back on recap, and boy, was I disappointed. But it's not anything new that we haven't been discussing over the last month and a half, and we have this over from Metcast over on X. Kodai Senga, since returning from the IL back in July, has a 5.90 ERA. When we go look at his game log, he has gone beyond 5 innings 2 times since May 31st. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 starts today. He's gone beyond 5 innings twice. His ERA coming into today, which only skyrocketed in the month of August, was 5.48, which is probably now well over 6. You look at July, a 5.25. It is time for the New York Mets to shut Kodai Senga down. Enough of this. Enough is enough. We go and we look at this schedule that we have to face coming up. Listen to this schedule. Detroit, the best team in the American League. You're going there 4-3. The Reds, a team now that won today, that is just 4 games behind us, are looking to do to the Mets what the Mets just did to the Philadelphia Phillies. You are going to Cincinnati next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then on to Philly for 4. You're home against Texas, and then you have another team that's fighting for their lives in the division out west, the San Diego Padres for 3. You have Washington for 3 after that. And then you're going to another playoff team in the Cubs. There is a legitimate chance we could be sitting here in just a couple of weeks and saying, what the hell happened to this New York Mets team? We are now out of the playoff race. And let's not forget, because the Mets have been so bad, the Giants are just 5 games back. We all thought the Reds were in the rearview mirror. We can't beat the Reds. We struggle against them. Detroit, forget about what Detroit's going to do to us over the next 3 games. This needed to be addressed at the deadline. Something that we have discussed on this channel time and time again. When you look at this pitching staff, it can't just be up to Jonah Tong and Noah McLean to save the day. It doesn't make sense. Somebody needs to ask David Stern. Sean Manaea has been terrible all year long. Senga's coming off a pretty big injury. How can you rely on him? Frankie Montas was terrible all season long. You look at the 2 pitchers, the 2 starting pitchers, or actually the 3, excuse me. But the 2 big guys that the Mets paid long-term, multiple years, and Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea this past offseason, they have been utter disasters. And now you have Kodai Senga stuck for the next couple seasons. This isn't looking good for us. It's simply not. I was breaking down some of the numbers today from today's game. Yeah, the Mets only put up 1 run. But when you look at Kodai Senga, 4 2/3 with a 5 earned runs, his ERA, which was in the mid ones just a couple months ago, has now officially broken 3. He has been terrible. And the numbers back it right up. He's allowed 7 hits and 2 walks in 4 2/3. Look at that whip. That is 9 guaranteed base runners in 4 2/3. That's 18 plus when you stretch it out to over a game. Then you get Waddell, who comes in for 4 1/3. Why is it Davinsky, Waddell, all these guys coming out of the pen? They can pitch, but the pitchers that we guarantee long-term contracts to cannot. Sandy Alcantara goes 7, allows 1, and made our team look foolish. And that's another gripe I have. Frank the Tank tweeted out, you never know what you're getting out of Senga or Sandy Alcantara. But when you look at Alcantara, he's 8-11 on the season with a 5.66 ERA. Where is his offense? Where? Alonso, Beatty, McNeil, Alonso twice, grounding, in the field. Beatty with the bad error. McNeil's got to cover first base. Maybe you can explain it to me down in the comments. I don't understand what is going on with this team. Miami is not good. It's unacceptable. And I'm going to watch Carlos Mendoza post-game because we all know everyone's got to walk on thin ice around here. Yeah, wasn't his best outing. But when you hear about Carlos Mendoza, I think what I just said to open up the podcast is going to happen. I think the New York Mets are going to shut down Kodai Senga, and we're going to see Brandon Sproat up here. And I want to clarify that as well for anybody who has any confusion in regard to Brandon Sproat, because I was wrong on my initial thoughts. How it works with the playoff roster, you have to be in the organization to be on the playoff roster by September 1st. You don't even have to be on the 40-man. So if the New York Mets decide to bring up Brandon Sproat, who is back to being a starter all of a sudden after doing the opener thing, which was catastrophic, they could bring him up and he can make the playoff roster. But I can't believe when we came into this year, Tyler McGill, Griffin Canning, Sean Manaea, Kodai Senga, Frankie Montas, on and on and on. You had, all these depth pieces, and now we're going to rely on 3 rookies potentially in the starting rotation to carry us? Guys, everyone on this channel knows how much I like David Stearns, but he has had a catastrophically terrible offseason. Look, you want to give him credit for Soto? That's up to you. But outside of that, Sean Manaea, 3 years, $75 million guaranteed. Frankie Montas, 2 years, $35 million guaranteed. Brings in a Griffin Canning who couldn't make a major league roster last year. Yeah, he pitched well for us before he went down, but it even seemed like the league was starting to catch up to him. David Peterson, I'm not going to get on totally for this past start. He's been great all season long. But let's be real. Nick Madrigal, who sucked last year, was going to come save the day. Jose Siri, you trade for a center fielder that's hitting 188 with the Rays? Make it make sense. And now at the deadline, you acquire Ryan Helsley, who's been an absolute dumpster fire. Look, you could say, well, anybody would have traded for Ryan Helsley. At the end of the day, David Stearns is responsible for getting guys in here that can handle New York, and Helsley clearly can't. I don't want to hear about tipping pitches. I don't want to hear that. He wasn't tipping pitches when he had a 2 ERA in the month of July for the Cardinals. Now all of a sudden he comes here, he's tipping pitches. Yeah, sure. Rogers, okay. He's been an okay acquisition. And then Cedric Mullins starts twice a week. He was supposed to be the replacement, the upgrade in center field, and now they can't keep him out there. As again today, in my opinion, misplays a ball out there. It's like, I understand David Stearns needs time to build and develop this organization, but the goods were sold to us. The Mets raised season ticket prices almost 25% for next season. The product on the field better match it. Steve Cohen called on all Mets fans to show up to Citi Field, and now we are top 5 in attendance this year. Look, the ball's in David Stern's court. And I can't believe I'm even saying this coming into the season. We added Juan Soto, and we are worse. I mean, would you be surprised if we woke up in 10 days from now after the Reds series and we're like one game out of the out? You got to face the Phillies, the Detroit, and the Reds, all back to back to back, and then you're finishing off the Cubs, who are a damn good team in the Central. San Diego, who has our number. We all know what San Diego did to us a few years ago in the postseason. I know I'm rambling, guys, but I got to get this off my chest. It's just unacceptable. And we have a manager who is scared to ruffle feathers. He needs to make the move. Whether it's him or David Stearns, Kodai Senga should not throw another pitch in 2025. Because he's either hurt and not back from the hamstring, or he's all kind of messed up. Nibbling at the corners, can't throw strikes, throws pitches right down the middle. His mechanics are all over the place. It's something we can't stand for. Now I'll get to a few more of your guys' comments before we get out of here for tonight. Be sure to like, if you really like the show and you agree with a lot of my points, feel free to share this show across social media. It will help blow it up. I appreciate it so much. And with that, we're going to start off. Pat Nick, bring up Sproat, have Senga and Holmes throw 4 innings each on the same start. No. Kodai Senga threw 4 2/3. How'd that work out today? Gives up the run right away. He can't pitch. Now, you want to tell me you want to do that with Sean Manaea? I would be open to that. I would be. But I don't think the Mets will be. I think they experimented already with Brandon Sproat out of the bullpen, and it was terrible. Alexis, well, the pitching has been terrible. The offense looks great in August. I agree with you. And that's another thing. Let's bring up that point. The entire season, we couldn't hit the first 2 months of the season. The pitching's dominant. Now it's flipped. Doesn't make any sense. And then when the starting pitching is doing good and the bats are hitting, the bullpen's melting down. This team has never clicked, and we can't expect in 30 days from now this team to be all of a sudden woke up and everything's clicking. It's not fair. Just not fair. Is Sproat eligible to pitch in the playoffs? Yes, he is. He is a part of the organization, so technically, yes. Absolutely. GW, Ray, 0 wins this season, trailing after 8, tells you all you need to know. Yup. I mean, last year, we were the comeback kids. The Jose Iglesias, the concerts on the field. Where is that juju? You're telling me Jose Siri really meant that much? And it's funny because people are like, oh, well, Jesse Winker's on his way back as he goes 0 for 3 with 3 Ks. Jay-Z, 11 and 17 this month, despite scoring the most runs in franchise history over a calendar month. It is sickening, bro. If I'm Carlos Mendoza, I am throwing chairs. And I will say this, Mendoza, if he ever holds anybody accountable, it's Bid Senga. He has no problem talking smack about Senga. Everybody else, he doesn't. Frank, Mets need to start pitching. Tong and McLean are well, you know what's wild? Eventually, these guys are going to sputter out. They never threw this many innings. McLean's been dominant over his first 3. What are the odds that continues the rest of the year? He's not going to pitch to an under 1 ERA. It's not realistic. Guys, I see a lot of you guys commenting over on other platforms. If you want to get your comments read tonight, we're going to be getting to YouTube comments. And if you want to be guaranteed to get your comments read, consider becoming a member. Robert, call up Sproat and Ross. McLean and Tung need. Senga hasn't been all impressing all year. I actually agree with you with Ross. And you know what? Joe DeMayo does as well. He thought he might be one of the guys. But I will tell you this. A lot of Mets fans love Dylan Ross. Very hard thrower, high K rate. The guy walks 1,000,000 people down at AAA. Literally 1,000,000. His last outing, he goes a third of an inning, gets the strikeout, but he walks 2 guys. That's what he is. He's going to be, I don't think he's ready. Klub, one of our members, appreciate you, Klub, chiming in. Another disgusting loss, embarrassing. It really is. Karen, 3 starting aces ruined the season. Crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. And David Stearns needs to be held accountable for this. Minaya is making 25. Montas is making 17 and a half. That's 35. That's almost 40 million bucks on these 2 guys. They have been terrible. Add Senga's 15. That's 55 million bucks on those 3 guys. They have been terrible. Absolutely terrible. We'll get to a few more before we head out for the day. My neighbors are driving me nuts with fireworks right now. My dogs are going nuts, so I got to take care of a few things. Get to a few more comments. Alexis, what about Taylor Marte starting over Cedric Mullins? That's what I'd change. But Taylor can't hit. And they got to justify the Mullins deal. You have to. You have to justify that. All right, Kev, we'll finish it off with you, my guy. Everyone with a brain knows that Stearns did not do enough to stabilize this roster. And we were all screaming, hooting, and hollering at the deadline. You know, I wasn't a big Robert Jr. guy. I didn't want him. But the move to be made that we all missed out on, we all know what it is. It was simple. The Garrett Crochet trade. He should have been a New York Met. We said it from day one. But that's all I got for you guys tonight. Please like. That's what helps the show the most. We'll be back. Hopefully, we turn this around against the Tigers, which I'm not all that confident in. You guys know I try to speak the truth as much as possible to you guys. I got a couple guests in the future lined up. Some Mets experts, writers, exclusive. So be sure to stick around. Turn those notifications on YouTube so you get alerted when we do go live. And I try to go live because I like interacting with you guys. When you throw up recordings, yeah, it's nice. The numbers are always higher when you throw up recordings, but I enjoy the personal interaction with you guys. So make sure you turn on those notifications because typically we schedule these shows about anywhere from an hour to 15 minutes before they go live. So it gives you a little preparation if you want to come on and have your voice heard. As always, everybody, let's go Mets. Peace.